And what we're going to be doing is we are going to backlight this Apple logo. And I've really been thinking about how to do this. And there's several different ways I could do this. Back in a moment. So I've been thinking about how to do this. And my friend Sean from Action Retro, he did RGB lighting. I will put a link in the video. He does some awesome work on his cube, and I highly suggest you check him out. But anyway, like I said, he put some RGB lighting in it. That looks really cool, but I'm not going to go quite that elaborate. I'm just going to kind of do it basic, and I just would kind of like just to light that Apple logo up. Now this thing is back painted, and there's a gap between the plastic acrylic housing and this piece of aluminum in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to slide this aluminum core out so we can actually get to the plastic here. But what I need to do is I've been thinking about, okay, how are we going to mount this thing? And I really don't like to drill any holes or anything in this thing. These plugs here are for the airport antennas, so that way they get a signal on the wireless signal. Too bad it's not behind the Apple logo, because that would just be a perfect solution, but it's not. So as you look in here, you'll see there's the grill for the top of the cube, the slot for the CD-ROM drive, and the other parts, the power button there. And you can look at it from this side. Now basically, the only thing that holds this interior aluminum housing in is basically these two screws. These four screws take off the vent and the brackets here, but these two screws actually correspond with these screw holes on the top. So what we're going to do is, and I've never taken this thing apart to this extreme, but it'll be a good, because you know why? I can actually, there's some dust in here, and I can get the dust out too, so that'll be good too. So that'll be beneficial. Now what I have to do is I have to put a very, very tiny hole, and I'm going to show you. I've got two ways I can do this. So I got this very, very small LED light. I do a little work of model railroading, so I always got kind of lots of little LED lights and stuff. And this is like a 2mm light, so it's pretty tiny. And so I just need just the tiniest hole in there, because I'm going to push it in from the back. So that will still be flush with the case. It won't even protrude the case. All I want to do is just cast some light out on that Apple logo. So that's what we're going to do. And I have a little USB plug here that I got this, because when I take this aluminum housing out, I want to do some lighting tests on it to see how it's going to look. My other thought was, this actually came out of an old plastic power book, and this has a little surface mounted light on it, and it kind of acts like a reflector. It shines it up, and this makes this nice and white. And that's an option too, but I would have to basically, and there's plenty of gap to do that. I could take and put that between the aluminum and the acrylic. There's enough space in there. But again, I want to do some lighting test. The other one probably will be a better choice, but we'll see how this works. It might be a better way to go. I'm not sure on this. So anyway, we're going to measure where I need to put this hole, because I'm going to mark it first, and I'll mark it from the inside, and then when I drill the hole, then I can obviously do that. But it's going to be just the tiniest little hole, just enough to cast some light through it. Okay, so I got my little mark in here. We're going to put the hole, and like I said, it's going to be very, very tiny, just enough to basically put that into that lead in it. And then we're going to have to kind of experiment to see what casts the best light on that. So what we're going to do is we're going to take these two screws out and see if we can get this plate out. Okay, so what I wound up doing is you do have to take all the screws out. So there's a total of 6. 4 of them hold this upper vent in, and then the other 2 on the outside basically attach this to the cube. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this and lift this out. Try not to scratch anything here. There we go. Then we're going to sit this down real gently here. And there we go. Now, just a FYI, sometimes where these screw holes are, because basically this is what holds that whole inner computer up in there, these do develop little cracks in there, and I can just see just the tiniest little one on the inside. You can't see it from the outside, and that's what happens to these things. But I mean, that looks pretty darn clean though. It looks pretty good. But I am going to wipe it all out on the inside. And so what I want to do is I want to see on the inside of this Apple logo. And let's see here. See, that's all smooth. So this is actually applied over the top of this thing. That's very interesting here. I thought it was all hollowed out, but it's actually attached to it here. Now the collar is on the inside. So this actually is a stick-on label. Interesting. That's actually stuck on there, because you can see the glue on the back side of it here. I don't know if you can try to get this in the light where you can see it here, right there. And if you look, I think it's in the camera here. Where am I at here? So you can see it's where it's glued on there. And I'm not going to even attempt to try to pull it off of there. So now what I can do is I can do my lighting test, and we can see how this looks with the LED behind there. So what we're going to do, I'm going to move this out of the way. And what I want to do, I wanted to clean this because there's some actual dust on this thing, on the outside edges. But I'll tell you what, this here's got some weight to it. It's really, really amazing. It's kind of a rubbery plastic. Probably serves as a cushion between the acrylic and the aluminum. Probably helps with the heat expansion, I would assume. So what we're going to do, I'm going to plug this in, and we'll see how this looks. We'll do a couple different things here. We're going to get this thing down like this, and we're going to backlight it here. I'm going to plug my little dangerous setup here. Or my other thought, or the other plan would be to do it this way here. So what I decided is I'm going to go with this little surface mounted LED. And I'm actually going to mount it on the outside of this. I'll use double stick tape, and it'll be here, and then the wires are going to go through it. I think that'll be a little bit more cleaner looking, and actually that actually puts out a lot more light. I was doing some tests off camera here, and this definitely puts out a lot more light here on this one here. And so yeah, we're going to go with that one. So we're going to get the hole put in it, and we're going to get it mounted up, and then we're going to start wiring it up into the cube here. Okay, so yeah, I think that's going to be pretty good. We're going to use some double-sided tape. We're going to mount this. It'll stay right there. You won't even see it once it's all put back together. It'll all be covered by the logo, and it should light it up pretty good. So what we're going to do is I'm going to get this wired up here. I'm going to extend the wires, and then we're going to figure out where we're going to hook it up inside the cube at. We need to put a connector so that way when we slide it in and out, we can unplug it. Alright, so we got our light mounted in here, right there, our little surface mounted LED here, and get the wires fed through it there. And then on the back side of it here, we have a little RC connector here. And this is actually, there's going to be another connector. We're going to take the power off the 5-volt side of the Molex connector. So that way when we pull the computer part of it out, we have plenty of slack and we can unplug this. This is on the optical drive side, so we should be okay. It should slide just right in there. So what we're going to do is we're going to put this back inside the clear acrylic enclosure here and get it all put back together. And then we're going to figure out where we're going to run the power. Okay, so we got the light installed in this. It looks really nice. And in fact, I will power it up for you so you can see it here. Looks really good. Let me just do a little thing here. So let me turn this light off here so you can see it a little bit better. And you can see that nice apple glow there. Look at that. Boy, it looks really good. And it's illuminated really well. So yeah, so what we have to do now, so what we're going to do is we're going to hook this to the Molex connector. Okay, so we got our wires hooked up to the Molex connector here. The same Molex that I used to hook up the autonomous fan controller, because that's easy to get to. And I ran them down this way purposely, so when I slide this thing back together, I just have to make sure that this connector clears. It'll all kind of be nested right in here. I wanted to leave extra wire so that way when I pull it out, I can unplug it if need be. So anyway, we're going to slide this thing back together here, and we're going to take a little jockeying here. I want to make sure that I have that plug up in there, and then there'll be room for this wire here. It looks terrible, really it's not. It'll all fit right in there. And let's see. Almost way out. Let's see here. Let me just push it over that way there a little bit. Oh. Yeah, let's try this again here. Let's maybe kind of tuck that up in there a little bit there. Nice. That's all in there. It's all locked in there. Yeah, looks good. All right. So we're going to power it up and see how it works. Should look beautiful when we're all done here. Yeah, so it worked out pretty good. Okay, so we get it all back together, and now we're going to plug it in and hopefully nothing blows up, and we're going to see how it looks. So let me plug it in here and get out of the camera's way here. And we're going to plug it in. Hey, look at that. Nice. That looks really good. That looks awesome. Oh, that nice, beautiful bong. Yeah, I'm just going to dim the lights here a little bit. And you can see how it kind of glows there. It looks pretty cool. Wow. That's awesome. Wow, that's awesome. That looks really good. I'm very happy how that turned out. That looks really good. Very good. Very pleased with that. Jay, I hope you approve, from House of Moth. I did that just for you, buddy, right there, okay? And also, please check out Jay's channel at the House of Moth. He does some wonderful things. He has some great videos. Very, very informative. So yeah, so that was very successful. That worked out quite well. And it looks pretty darn good if I do say so myself. And basically, you know, you get creative and do things. Now, I did look into the wireless LEDs, the ones that are wireless, but Probably would have a little issue with that because they're not as tiny as you think they're, because they have all those little coils behind them, the inductors, because you have another part of it that actually has the power that transmits to it, and I don't think that would have worked in there because of the limited space. So we went to plan B here, and it looks really good. I'm very happy. So anyway, guys, and so I appreciate it if you like this video. Please subscribe and click the bell. And you can also reach out to me on MeWe and Twitter. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a great rest of your week. Bye.